Sitting in Eagle's Nest. I was reflecting on a phrase that Pastor Bob used in one of his sermons lately and it was a quote from Ravi Zacharias, basically reminding us that the problem with this world is not our view from left to right, and that is not necessarily a political left and right, although it could be, but basically how much division we have in all kinds of topics in this world. Left to right gives us a earthly perspective. But he says instead of left to right, we should have an up and down perspective. And that is our relationship with God needs to come first to align those priorities with him. And it's interesting, that quote kind of ties into one of the teachings that Jesus himself, when he walked this earth, taught in Matthew 22. And we can quickly take a look at that passage. Jesus is preaching and talking to the crowds, and he was in the temple area, and the leaders of the day, the Sadducees, would have known the law of Moses and the Old Testament laws, the Jewish laws, and they challenged Jesus with a question. They said, "Teacher, what is the greatest commandment of the law?" And now we could look back and we could look at the law of Moses from earlier days, when he came down off the mountain in Exodus 20, where he was able to show us the 10 Commandments. And just using that as our illustration today will make the point. But Jesus tells these Jewish leaders that it's simple. The greatest commandment is two things: to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind. That's the first commandment. And second, to love your neighbor as yourself. And so he's reminding us in a very simple way to have that up and down relationship with God first, and our neighbors, our left and our right, will fall into place. But then Jesus says in verse 40, all the law and the prophets hang on these two commandments. And so he's saying the exact same thing right there. If you go back and look at the 10 commandments found in Exodus, we can find that principle to be true. The first 4 10 commandments are this: thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not have any graven images or false images or other gods. They used to make, calves out of gold and worship them. You know about the Greek gods and the Roman gods. Over time, we've always developed into a situation where civilization applied gods to nature, forces of nature, love, war, and so forth. And God says, don't do that. Thirdly, don't take the name of the Lord our God in vain. We don't have the power to control anything on this earth, so we shouldn't be using God's name in any way, in any vile way. Remembering the Sabbath day, to keep it holy. Now that's something that God himself illustrates. When he created the world in 7 days, he took the 7th day off and he rested. And so he's created that work week for us to follow as well. All of those things have to do with our relationship with God first. And then if we look at the rest of the 10 commandments that are listed, all of them fall within that left and right, our neighbor kind of perspective. Look at number 5. It is honoring your father and mother, not killing one another, not committing adultery, shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness or lie against one another, or covet thy neighbor's things. And so it is really summarized, like Jesus said, in those 2 things. If we get the first 4 right and our alignment with God is a priority, then the way we treat one another will fall into place as well. So I hope that helps you kind of refocus some things as we're dealing with a lot of stress out there, social media, a lot of things that are kind of vying for our attention. God's asking us to do 2 simple things, and they're not that simple sometimes, but we have to reprioritize. Love him first, and everything else will come and fall into place. Up and down is more important than left and right, but they're both important. You just need the first one first. Hope that makes sense. Enjoy your afternoon. See ya.